The basic issue that we are dealing with is we have in the county an aging infrastructure. Many of our facilities have been neglected since the time that they were built. You know, when you have brand new buildings, we budget for brand new buildings. We don't budget adequately for repair, maintenance, and upgrades. So many of our base yards, for instance, are 50-year and older. Many of our parks have equipment that's aging and falling apart. Many of our water systems, our pipe systems, are aging and falling apart. Our roadways, we're on a 50-year and longer repair and maintenance program. We're systematically going through all of the different departments, and we're trying to upgrade them to the level that we need to be able to upgrade them to. Now, we've already started this program. This is not something we're starting this year. But we want the public to understand what it is that we're trying to do and what we've been working on. Environmental management, our wastewater systems, literally hundreds of millions of dollars have been spent to upgrade those systems because we're having spills, we're having violation of law almost daily before we did the upgrades. The EPA was fining us, State Department of Health was fining us. So we've been upgrading those systems, and we're now on a level where we can maintain without facing severe fines. And of course, we have to upgrade to be able to modernize and keep up with where we want to go. And that is a lot of recycling. But we're not being fined on a daily basis for violations now. Those aren't occurring. We looked at our police department. We upgraded a lot of their equipment. You go to almost any fire station in a county, then you will see new fire engines. We upgraded a lot of the equipment that the fire was working with. We even have hazmat trucks. We have special vehicles for rough terrain. We have situation command centers. We're upgrading police and fire. We've done a lot of this work. We've modernized their equipment. Our lifeguards, ocean safety. If you go down now, our ocean safety officers have jet skis. They can go out and they can rescue people. Before, they used to have to dive in the water, swim out to someone who was drowning, and then pull that person back by hand, taking lots of time and seriously putting their lives in danger. Now with the jet skis, they're able to do this much more efficiently. Not only that, by allowing police, fire, and all the other rescue squads like the lifeguards to be able to work together because the communication systems was upgraded, we have much faster response time, and we save a lot of lives. So those we've already worked on. Areas like the bus system. We created a whole new bus system, and we're constantly upgrading those bus systems. Last year, we made a concerted effort to start going after our highways. We did the studies. We realized we're doing a 50-year plus maintenance program when we needed to get it down to 20, 25 years. So we set the goal at 20 to 25 years. We upgraded the budget from 12 million to 31 million. This year it's up to 33 million. Why? Because we're finding that if we maintain the roads, we fix them at the level they should, we're providing the service the community expects. We're also going to be able to cut the cost of having to do major repairs, and instead we're going to be able to put things like slurry seal on some of the roads to expand the lifespan of those roads. But first we have to upgrade them to the point where we can put on the preserving new substances so that we can expand the lifespan of the road. A lot of these things are in process. We started last year. This year we're concentrating on water department. For years now, actually generations, we've had aging water system. Our system were put in over 80 years ago, and many of the pipes within our system are falling apart. Instead of trying to react to emergencies, we want to be very proactive. We want to start going through, having our department do repair and maintenance and upgrades. We want the department to be responsible for every inch of those pipelines and be able to know what's going on and plan and engineer all of the repair and maintenance that needs to be done. This is why we're putting a concerted effort into water this year to try and upgrade those systems. Now, Kula has been the one that suffered the most because of shortages. But Kahului, Lahaina, almost every place else is threatened because our systems are getting old and are not capable of keeping up with the growth expansions that we have within our various communities. We need to be able to look at every one of these situations and be able to get them to where we need to get them. These are the kinds of systems that if they fall apart, we have major, major problems. I mean, can you imagine if our water system broke down and you couldn't have water in Lahaina? The water system in Lahaina broke down, you couldn't have water delivered to the homes there and to the hotels. How do we provide that water? You know, if you have shortages where you cannot, for some reason, are we going to truck millions of gallons of water? Do we have the capability of it? No.
So can you offer a statement? I know there's a big vote coming up tonight, or not a vote, but a discussion about the mayor and the water director's input when there are water shortages. What is your view on that proposal?
Well, my view is actually very simple. The chairman of the committee, Mike Victorino, wants to bring it back out to the county community to review it again. This is something that we have no objections whatsoever with. Part of the council's responsibility is to have public review and to be able to explain to the public what it is we're doing with rules. Ultimately, if you read the suggestions that the committee chair has proposed, all they do is enhance the responsibilities that were already mentioned. There is nothing that goes contrary to what was proposed by the administration. So we're very happy that he's looking at possibly giving us a little bit more leeway than was in the current bill. And having more public exposure so that everybody understands what's going on is a most definite plus. Realistically, who else would declare an emergency like a drought? I mean, you know, who else knows the system well enough to be able to say, well, we're in a drought situation or we're in a shortage situation, besides the water director and the mayor? And we're the ones that are ultimately going to have to answer to the community. I mean, is there anybody else who's going to take the responsibility to be able to say to the community, this is why you have a shortage or this is why it's going to cost you more? It's very obvious we have that responsibility. We will live up to that responsibility. We've had the ability to make those decisions in the past forever. It's never been taken away. So this is just a way of codifying what responsibility we already have.
Okay. I know that you had outlined in your budget proposal a lot of the CIP projects where there's increases, but is there any place where there's going to be significant cuts? Or
environmental management actually has a cut in their budget. And you know, environmental management, wastewater, has been improving and constantly been working on their system. This year they're actually going to be spending a little bit less than they have last year. I forget exactly how many, but it's several $1 million.
And then also on that note, you know, when budget time comes around, a lot of the social service agencies are always worried about they're usually like the first ones to suffer the acts in terms of cuts. Is there anything planned on your end, or?
What we're basically looking at the social service agencies, we did an analysis of virtually all of the different programs this past year. Some agencies like Wailuku Main Street, we cut completely because they weren't giving us the information we needed to be able to do good decisions. On most of the others, we've asked them to cooperate with us and give us the information and the accounting that we need. So we're trying to hold them all more accountable. The reality, however, is that at the national level, at the state level, many of these agencies are being hurt tremendously. And as we're cutting back at the national and state level, and many of them have very uncertain futures, we have to be able to protect our own community. So from the county, we're keeping everything intact. We're actually going to ask to increase some of the social service areas to react to inflation. And we're going to try and keep the quality of life for people here in Maui the best that we possibly can. Now, understand, and I think this is something that we should be very clear, the county can let the state handle everything. It's supposedly most of this is state responsibility. But if we allow the state to do what the state is doing, then many of these agencies would cease to exist. And many of the programs that we have that are basically a requirement the community needs would hurt the community tremendously. We are responsible for the people that live in our community. And I will not be the mayor that says, well, it's a state responsibility, it's somebody else's responsibility, so we're just going to ignore it and let it go away. We're going to take the position, people here in our community look to us to make sure that the quality of life that they have is protected. And we are going to protect that quality of life the very, very best we can. As a community, we can afford to do the things that we have, and that's why we put this budget together. And yes, a lot of it is critical for most of the agencies to survive. And they're able to attract matching funds and other kinds of funds because of county participation, which is why we take care of our community better than most of the others. And, you know, again, I will not be the mayor that says we don't care about our community. We care so much about our community, we're willing to bite the bullet and put the money in that we need to put in to take care of people here.